everyone, my name is Akavan Bostic and I'm your host for today's session. So today we are going to have an incredible topic about the insight on pharmaceutical sciences, leadership and mentorship, and our guest in the house is a great personality in person of Professor Nelson Agaba Ochekpe. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Aka.
You're welcome on the show. Okay, so going to the first session, like the first question. So, sir, you are a renowned professor, like in the field of pharmaceutical and medicinal chemistry. Why the choice of pharmaceutical and medicinal chemistry and pharmaceutical analysis?
Okay, thank you for that question.
Okay.
Right from secondary school, my interest was more of chemistry, even though I was not necessarily the best in chemistry.
Okay.
Somehow I turned out to be like that somehow. And on getting to the university and in the program, pharmacy program,
Okay.
we were selected, I would say. From our set, I think we have quite a number in academics. We were recruited by the then dean, depending on the subjects you did very well, to come back. So he followed us up through internship. From NYC, he kept writing us letters. Remember, there wasn't GSM and all that. And the moment we finished NYC, he will now say, oh, we are waiting for you, and that kind of a thing.
Okay.
So it wasn't really a choice as such, but wanting to also satisfy a mentor. For us, it was in the person of Professor Wambebe, late now, sad enough, but that's the role he played. So we just got in, and in those days too, job wasn't a problem. I finished my youth service in Rivers, and the Rivers State government gave me a job.
Wow.
And then I moved to Benue. Benue had a job for me. Maybe was saying, come, based on this. So I had several opportunities, and I took it up.
Okay, so that's incredible. So are you now saying that people who don't have, will I say, a thing for chemistry now don't have a future in chemistry?
No, why not? What I said is that you can always, in fact, the current situation is such that it doesn't matter what you read.
Okay.
It's your interest.
Okay.
And like my experience, if I go by it, from SBS, School of Basic Studies in Zaria, ABU, my best grade was not in chemistry.
Okay.
But we had a council. The counselor came and said, you know what? Even if you are scoring A's in B, and you are scoring B or C in chemistry, and your interest is in chemistry, go and read pharmacy.
Wow.
So it was easy for me. And I can tell you, based on that, most people that had that interest never had to repeat.
Wow. So I read until I was tired of reading. Your publications, like more than 60, dated back to when I was not even born. And then your PhD in Scotland, a lot of your works, and then your award, and then the national and international recognition that you have received. So what would you say is your most interesting, or will I say a favorite of your work that you have done, and then why? And then how was it like during that period working towards that? It's either the publication or maybe a research project.
First and foremost, I would like to say that time and chance is important. Where you are at a point, the people you are interacting with, and the grace available from God to be able to do things.
Yes, sir.
Some of the things I did, for example, if I pick on my PhD, by the way, I don't have a master's. But there was that provision that time, depending on the grade, whether a first class or near a first class, you could go straight to Britain and do your PhD. But I didn't have the funds, and there was no sponsorship. But nobody knew me in Scotland. And then I wanted a distant mentor, and a distant mentor now said, well, there's a Scottish educational grant. Can you apply? I didn't even apply, but I was granted.
Wow.
Until I got there. before I put in the application. So you can see why I'm talking about time and chance.
Yes.
And my supervisor was, of course, in medicinal, and he knew my interest was already in analytical chemistry or pharmaceutical analysis, or to be more specific, chromatography. Wow. So I just fitted into it.
Wow, that's actually beautiful. So, sir, how do you envision Faculty of Pharmaceutical Science, like the one we are in right now, like addressing global challenges, health challenges, and what role do you see yourself playing in this evolution?
Okay. Now, let me go back a bit on your last question before I go forth in this. You asked several questions, so I don't think I addressed it all.
Okay.
Now, a tree does not make a forest.
Yes.
Whatever you see out there as publications was as a result of partnership with people, working together with people. I always use this illustration. Supposing I want to establish, or I want to write a proposal. The cost of writing that proposal may be 50 naira, well, I don't know what you're saying now, but 50 naira is much, okay?
Yes.
And I have only 10 naira. I need 4 people with the same 10 naira, and then we meet and we meet the requirements and move ahead. So most of the publications you'll see, except 1 or 2 conference papers that say, oh, come and make a presentation, will not carry one name. So we require partners to work together to achieve. And that's why I talked about a tree does not make a forest.
Yes, sir.
You need several trees to have a forest. Now, you asked me the second question, or the question that followed, concerning the faculty, specifically the faculty.
Yes.
The faculty has been in existence for over 30 years, graduated so many sets, and we can boast of the fact that they have also achieved great heights in their different careers. By the way, not necessarily in the field of pharmacy. Some are in banking, some are in management, top management, and all that around the world. Some various, disciplines, ICT, and so on. These are the ones I know. Okay. And they're doing very well. Oh. But in the field of pharmacy, I'm sure that will be the one that will be of interest. Yes, what I see for the faculty is a future that will bring about some independence. As a faculty, we've had some challenges. Okay. And we are still having some challenges. And I think the challenges are of good. And in most cases, the challenges come down to financial. There are things you would want to do, and the money is not there. Now, we can turn that challenge around and say, what do we get out of it? Analyze it, see the gap, and then see how we can fill in those gaps. And as a faculty that offers pharmacy, our first decision is, what drugs can we put out there? There's a simple cycle: research, development, product, production. Now, if you have a product out there ultimately that is selling and is making impact in the market, then you make more money. You make more money, you invest it in research. From research, development. Now, as a faculty, I think we've had a lot of individual research, corporate, partnership, all kind of thing, but we haven't translated much into development. And until we do development, pilot production, then, and have a product out there that is selling, we will make enough money. If we do that, the university will beg us to say, what else can we do for you? Because we'll be producing so much.
Actually.
Yes. But over and above making money, we'll be making impact,
of course,
on the health system. As pharmacists, we are solution providers. If we don't provide solution, then healthcare is in trouble. Thank you.
That's also beautiful. So I thank you for that wonderful answer. So going to leadership and management. So you were once appointed the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic in the university. So I would just want to know, and many others are joining me, that are watching. So how was it for you, like being a pharmacist, a researcher, of course, and then being a leader at that point for you?
Well, thank you. I think leadership does not come overnight.
Yes, it doesn't.
I have had challenges right from as a junior academician,
Okay.
or as way back actually as an internee, because certain things happen to you. You wonder why. I was an intern at the General Hospital in Makurdi.
Okay.
And General Hospital Boko had a youth corper in charge. The man went on leave, and as an intern, I was posted to go and be in charge of that hospital.
Wow. Wow.
So it was entrusted on me right from that point. Also, let me move you quickly so it's not a long story.
Okay.
When I got back to this faculty, they had just moved in from Makudi and all that. Immediately I came and resumed. I was appointed the first coordinator, the first pharmacist to be in charge of pharm chem and medicinal chemistry.
Wow.
So a lot of that has happened before I was appointed. Again, the DVC, I'm just fast tracking, had also acted as a deputy director, Office of Research and Development in this university for 4 years.
Yes.
And while I was there, well, the faculty appointed me, or elected me, because it was by election, the dean of the faculty. I was barely 3 months as dean when I was appointed as DVC. So it's been leadership challenge, so to say. So I can say that helped me to develop my leadership skills based on some principles I had. As deputy, vice chancellor of academics, it's difficult to assess yourself. I think the records are there for others to say.
Yes.
Whether one did well or not.
Actually.
Thank you.
You did actually wonderful. So, sir, like as a respected leader, like a lot of people are looking up to you. So, how do you approach the aspect of mentorship and supporting the career development of junior faculty members and students? Just like you mentioned that you were once like a junior staff before you now proceeded. I know.
Thank you. What you have is what you can give. Again, when I went to Scotland, there was a Scottish man. I'll tell you one small story about him. The man will write.
Okay.
And I will go back and try to decode what is written.
Wow.
And say, what is this, sir? And the man cannot read his own handwriting. But that's a good aspect. But that's to tell you that he kept putting me on the hot seat. Okay. That time there was a lot of review of articles. He had that. Then there wasn't internet, and it was there, but not as it is now.
Yes.
Articles were being reviewed manually and all that. Journals from Sevilla and the other places will come. And what he will do is he collects them by the mail, he dumps them on me.
Wow.
To go and review and bring back and critique. It wasn't funny because I had my lab work to do and that sort of thing. I saw that later on as mentorship. He would take me also to his house. We'll go and do plumbing work in his house.
Yeah.
I wasn't a plumber.
Yes.
But I learned it. HPLC, column packing and all that, we'll do it in the lab. But he also did something that was interesting for me. Sometimes I would stay in the lab till 10 p.m.
Wow.
And he would stay with me except on Wednesdays.
Okay.
He taught me that. He would stay till around 8 with me in the lab when every other person is gone. And on Wednesdays, he says to me, Nelson, you know what? This is my day off with my wife. I have to keep her happy. So he would always leave me. So when I did join, and I was coordinator, HOD, and all that, one of the things I did with every junior person that came after me was to sit with them right from the word go and discuss their likes and dislikes. Up to today, I still do it with my project students. Because I think that once you're interested in an area, you would like to make a mark there. Some of these actions of throwing responsibilities on juniors, some people don't take it very easily. They think, oh, you're overloading me. I felt like that too when I went through it, but I learned a lot through that. So I still do it a lot by giving responsibilities.
Okay, so that was a beautiful response. So I was just about to ask, so throughout your leadership role, throughout your lifetime, so what specific leadership lesson have you learned that you keep getting that lesson, it was consistent, and then you can as well tell your mentors or somebody who is just starting to learn about leadership, what's that one lesson you can give your person?
Okay. There are several, but since you asked for one,
yes,
there's a saying that to avoid criticism, I don't know whether I've heard it before.
okay.
Do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing.
Wow.
That means if you are something, people must criticize you. If you say something, you qualify to be criticized. If you do something, you are overqualified to be criticized. Okay. The leader would always be criticized. Good leadership is like a prophet in the Bible. The prophet, the human, all of us are struggling to have our 3 square meals right now, okay? Mm-hmm. And the prophet is saying to you, you know what? There's a promised land. You haven't gotten this one right. And somebody is telling you there's a promised land. So you don't want to think of that promised land.
Of course.
So in leadership, you must realize that criticism is part of it. Because except you are doing nothing. But the fact that you are a human being and you are in a leadership position qualifies you for criticism.
Okay.
Now, but coming from my own background, I'm giving you 2 now instead of 1. I don't know whether that is fair. The typical Idoma background says the leader is the dump site. That's the definition of leadership. Yet, the dump site is where the best mushrooms come from. Oh. I'll stop it at that.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, going to more personal questions at the moment. So your wife was a Minister of Water Resources as of 2011, 2015. And at the same time, you were holding a lot of positions too. So how was it for you being a husband, a father, and as well trying to be more professional in your work at that point?
Thank you for that question. We have 2 biological, but we have 3 children.
Okay.
The first one we brought up. That's the one I was saying is a film director.
Okay.
My daughter graduated also in pharmacy. Wow. Before my wife was. In fact, the day she was graduating was the day my wife was inaugurated. Wow. So she couldn't come either. Okay. We had to send a brother to go meet her. So my son maybe is the one that had a divided attention in that sense of it. So we did, so at that point, and he was already in the university. Okay. So we didn't have a young family. Let me use that word. However, because of job, I was in Jos, she was in Abuja. So that meant commuting occasionally, which God helped us. We went through successfully. So, but it's not an easy thing. Let me assert to that, in the sense that when they were younger, too, at some point, I moved to nitrate. And from nitrate, I moved on to NAFDAC. So moving to Abuja, and from Abuja, I ended up in Lagos. But God helped us. My wife did excellently well to look after the kids.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sir. What do you believe is the key to maintaining a healthy work-life balance? And how do you prioritize your personal well-being?
Well, I think that in every work environment, you are not alone. So have good friends.
Okay.
Friendship is very important.
Okay.
Even though, and well, if you want to enjoy good company, be friendly so that you can have good friends. What you have is what you get back. What you sow is what you reap. However, there will be conflict. Doesn't matter. With your best friend, with your best enemy, whatever you see, there will be conflict. Learn not to. I have learned not to have permanent enemy in any form and shape.
Wow.
And when there's conflict, as much as possible, try to sort it out. Don't keep it forever. In terms of, I adopted, and I still do it up to today. I don't like carrying work over to the house.
Oh.
So that if I'm going to rest, I'll rest.
Okay. Wow.
Except it is absolutely necessary and the deadline is such that I must work overnight. So it's good to keep to those. And we spend a lot of time in the office. You should look after yourself with respect to water intake, fluid intake, and food intake. Lunch is important.
So in the aspect of food,
I literally have a tea room everywhere I go.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So look after yourself. Nobody's going to look after you.
So in the aspect of food now, do you have like a specific food that's anytime you are tired, you have to look for that particular food to go and eat?
People have different choices.
Like
for me, I must always have tea.
Okay, tea.
It's good for me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
But maybe not for people with high BP and all that. I learned early enough that I have a low BP.
Oh.
So I'm exceptional. Some others say, oh, as you get older and all that, don't take salt again, don't take caffeine and all that. Not that I take it in excess. I just maybe at least maximum during working hours, 2 cups of tea, just to keep it going.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. In your field now, like, do you have any role model or somebody like you know how will I say, like, have impacted your career a lot that you can't finish your story without mentioning that person that's in the field of pharmaceutical and medicinal chemistry?
Yes, I have several. Depends on what you're working on at every point in time.
Okay.
You look up to an individual. Right from the word go, I've mentioned some people. My supervisor at PhD level, whom I also worked with closely, and because of that, I was able to also get more students like the late Professor Kolawole to work with him, and a group of others. He was such a friendly person, so he showed me a lot. What a true mentor, in my definition, should be. So I look up to him. In my working life, I also mentioned in passing Professor Wambebe, who literally recruited us. And when I was in NAFDAC, I had to work with Professor Osude. And during that course, I also worked with Professor Sokomba, as some of you may know.
Yes.
So there have been several mentors. Okay. And literally every boss is a mentor. So is it when I was in ORT, who was the director, Professor Pamsha? Is it when I was DVC, I worked with two VCs, Professor Mafie, Professor Memako. So you tend to have a number of mentors in that sense. There's something to learn from every relationship. So that's what makes you a forest at the end of the day.
Actually. So, sir, if you could go back in time and give advice to your younger self, like just younger self starting a career in pharmacy, what would that advice be?
You need to be humble. I was talking to an individual who is trained to be an accountant, okay? Reason to become deputy chief of where she is. But was now posted to go and head a unit that appears not fit for her position. A few days ago, and I said to her, you know what? That could be another opportunity to then increase your capacity, maybe through learning, through volunteerism in other fields of accounting, or even outside of accounting. So I think bottom line is we should be humble enough to learn new things on and off the job. And when your boss says all you should do, okay, is clean up the teacups after use, okay, be humble enough to take it there. And if you are humble enough, there's something you will learn from it.
So even if it's not in your job description?
Yeah, even if it's not in your job. I was doing plumbing job like I told you, yes, you said, with my supervisor. It wasn't, and you know what he did? He will carry me to his house, we'll go to the basement, we'll do that, right? Then occasionally he'll say to me, Nelson, this Saturday we're driving around. And he'll drive me through the whole of Scotland. Wow. Show me places other students never knew. Did I merit to that?
Yes.
No. But so if you are, it could be a testing time just to say you should do something that looks very mean.
Well, okay. Thank you very much, sir, for that answer. So is there anything like you're passionate about outside like pharmacy, like when you said you don't carry your work to the house? That means there's your life aside from pharmacy. Is there anything that you're passionate about or maybe interesting, like your hobbies outside academics?
Yeah, when I get home and I say I don't, sometimes I read. And I still read pharmacy books. Sometimes I read non-pharmacy books. So I look at that period as a period for self-development.
And you
not for me to carry office work. I enjoy it.
Enjoy it as a hobby.
Yes.
To read.
Yes.
I read. Wow.
Yes.
Some of us don't think that reading is a hobby though. Especially when it's pharmacy related books.
It's